back with another chapter of A Treasure Discovery by LizzeXX. Last chapter we finished off the long game episode. This time we're on the next episode, which is Father's Day, which personally isn't my favorite. I'm not too keen on what Rose's actions in this one. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but what Rose does is bad, basically. Like, I don't approve of what she does. But, yeah. Anyway, let's get right on into the chapter. If you would like to follow along, chapter links to archive and fanfiction.net are in the description below as always. Now let's get started. Chapter 7, Father's Day. Dead Man Walking. Peter Allen's Tyler, Rose explained to the Doctor and Angel as she stood in the TARDIS. My dad, the most wonderful man in the world, born 15th of September 1954. A little 6-year-old Rose poked her head around her mother's bedroom door to see her sitting on the bed with a photo album in her lap. Come here, Rose, Jackie called softly, spawning her. Come here. She patted the bed beside her, the young girl clambering up to sit next to her as her mother pointed to a photo of her husband. Who's that? It's your daddy. You weren't old enough to remember when he died. 1987, 7th of November. Do you remember what I told you? The day that Stuart Hoskins and Sarah Clark got married? She turned the page to see herself and Peter together. He was always having adventures. Oh, he would have loved to have seen you now. Rose leaned back against the console as the Doctor watched her from his spot, sitting in the captain's chair across from her. Angel seeming to be soldering something on the other side of the console, repairing it. That's what Mum always says, Rose continued. So, I was thinking, could we go and see my dad when he was still alive? Where's this come from all of a sudden? The Doctor frowned. Alright then, if we can't, if it goes against the laws of time or something, she mumbled, turning away, then never mind, we'll just leave it. No, I could do anything. I'm just real worried about you. I want to see him. Your wish is my command, but be careful what you wish for. He stood up and joined Angel at the console, Rose moving to sit in the chair. Angel put down the soldering tool as the Doctor started putting in coordinates. He leaned over. Any feelings about this? He asked her quietly. She sighed, glancing at Rose. I'm not sure if Rose will be able to handle this. There was just something in her gut telling her that something would go very, very wrong. The trio was sitting behind a small gathering of people, watching as Jackie and Pete Tyler got married in the local registry office. I, Peter Allen Tyler, take you, Jacqueline Angela Suzette Frites, the official recited. I, Peter Allen Tyler, take you, Jacqueline Suzette Anita. Peter mucked it up, his nerves evident. Jackie narrowed her eyes at him before sighing. Oh, just carry on. Good enough for Lady. The Doctor grinned down at Rose, who was watching the proceedings curiously. I thought he'd be taller, she commented. Angel squinted at the man in question. He looks average height to me. The Doctor smiled, shaking his head fondly at her. To be my lawfully wedded wife, to love and behold till death do us part, the official continued. He died so close to home, Jackie sighed quietly, sadly. I wasn't there. Nobody was. It was a hit-and-run driver. Never found out who. He was dead when the ambulance got there. Little Rose looked up at her solemnly. I only wish there'd been someone there for him. I want to be that someone, Rose explained sadly, as the Doctor, her, and Angel stood around the console. So he doesn't die alone. November the 7th, the Doctor repeated, making sure. 987. The Doctor glanced at Angel as she frowned before both of them got to work, putting in the coordinates. Rose watching them intently, fidgeting. The engines cooled down a moment later, and Rose quickly headed for the door. You ready for this? The Doctor asked Angel as they watched Rose step outside. Angel sighed. I don't think anyone will be ready for what's coming. He nodded solemnly, knowing she probably didn't have an idea of what was coming exactly, but he could tell from her expression it would be bad. They headed outside to see Rose looking around. It was a calm, average day. The sun was even shining. That's so weird, Rose remarked. The day my father died, I thought it'd be all sort of grim and stormy. It's just an ordinary day. The past is another country, the doctor replied. 1987's just the Isle of Wight. Are you absolutely sure about this, Rose? Angel asked Rose, looking at her intently, putting her hand on Rose's shoulder. It won't be easy to see. She knew that all too well. To see someone you loved die before your eyes. She wouldn't wish that on anyone. Rose took a breath. Yeah. They walked to stand at the curb of the power estate, when Angel glanced back briefly, almost swearing they were being followed, before shaking her head and turning back. They came to stand at the edge of the pavement, waiting, Rose standing in the middle of them. This is it, Rose murmured. Jordan Road. He was late. He'd been to get a wedding present. A vase. Always said that stupid face. She swallowed hard, trying to hold back her tears. He got out of his car. The car came around the corner and pulled over. I crossed the road. The car stopped. Oh God, this is it. They watched as Pete Tyler stepped out of the car, not noticing a thing. He leaned back in to pluck the vase Rose had mentioned from the seat. The doctor and Angel reached out, both taking Rose's hands in their own, offering her their strength and comfort. Pete got back out of the car, not noticing the car speeding around the corner, heading straight for him. He turned, his eyes widening in shock. The driver threw a hand over his eyes. Rose quickly hid her head behind the doctor's shoulder as Angel put her other hand on Rose's shoulder, squeezing it, half hugging her, as the vase shattered. Rose lifted her head to look at her father, lying on the road, twitching. Go to him, the doctor told her. Quick. But she couldn't move. They stood a short while later, leaning against the wall in an alley nearby. Rose had tears in her eyes. Sirens from the ambulance began to ring out, drawing nearer. It's too late now, Rose commented. By the time the ambulance got there, he was dead. Her voice faltered, struggling with her tears. The doctor looked down in silence, and Rose turned to him. He can't die on his own. The doctor looked at her sharply. Can I try again? Rose, Angel said softly, voicing the concern the doctor could not. You really shouldn't. Please. She turned to look at Angel, the tears in her eyes spilling over. Angel looked at the doctor, shaking her head ever so slightly, but the doctor could only sigh. They stood around the corner of the street Pete would die on, out of sight, watching as their past selves walked to the curb, ducking back quickly as past Angel glanced over her shoulder, as though sensing them, but unsure. A moment later, as the doctor and Rose peeked out again to see that they were all standing at the curb, Angel moved to do the same, hold on. Angel moved to do the same when something caught her eye. Graffiti on a poster for a rave on the wall just beside them were the words, Bad Wolf. She frowned. This was the third time she'd encountered those words since meeting the doctor. Right, the doctor said, cutting off her thoughts. That's the first of us. It's a very bad idea. Two sets of us being here at the same time. Just be careful they don't see us. Wait till she runs off and they follow. Then go to your dad. They watched as the car pulled up once again. Oh God, they heard past Rose breathe. This is it. I can't do this. Rose shuddered, watching her father lean in to pick up the vase. You don't have to do anything you don't want to, the doctor reminded her. This is the last time we could be here. Rose stared at her father getting back out of the car, breathing heavily before darting off. Rose, no! Angel shouted, but it was too late. Rose ran past their past selves and tackled her father out of the way of the car, both of them tumbling to the road. Oh no, Angel breathed, watching with wide eyes as their past selves disappeared, the doctor looking on in melting horror. Rose just stared at her father as he got to his feet, not noticing them at all. I did it! I saved your life! Blimey, did you see the speed of it? Pete commented, gasping just a bit. Did you get his number? I really did it. She continued to stare. Oh my God, look at you! You're alive! That car was going to kill you. Well, give me some credit. I did see it coming. I wasn't going to walk under it, was I? Rose, she said, staring at him as though waiting for him to make the connection. That's a coincidence, he smiled. That's my daughter's name. That's a great name, she smiled brilliantly in return. Good choice. Well done. There was a few seconds of silence as Rose just smiled at him, unable to take her eyes off him. He hesitated, unsure what to say next. Right, I better shift. I've got a wedding to go to. Is that Sir Clark's wedding? Yeah, are you going? Yeah. You, your sister, and boyfriend need a lift? He asked, gesturing over to the doctor, who was standing with his hand in Angel's, watching them darkly by the corner. Angel glancing around, concerned. Doctor, Angel said quietly as Rose and Pete waved them over. He looked at her. They're coming. Who? He asked, glancing around as well. I don't know. She shook her head. High above the streets of London, a screeching sounded as the world below was viewed in a red haze. Pete pushed open the door to the flat, letting Rose, Angel, and the doctor in as well, setting the vase next to the door. There we go, he welcomed them. Sorry about the mess. If you want a cup of tea, the kitchen's just down there. Milk's in the fridge. Well, it would be, wouldn't it? Where else would you put the milk? Mind you, there's always a windowsill outside. I always thought if someone invented a windowsill with special compartments, or for milk one, but they could a lot of money at that. Rose beamed at that, so thrilled, still unable to tear her eyes away from him while the doctor nodded behind her. Angel, a bit too concerned with the feeling growing in the pit of her stomach to really be paying attention. So the students of things. He trailed off and thought, I should write that down. Anyway, never mind that. Excuse me. He gave them a nod and headed into another room, shutting the door behind him. All the stuff Mum kept, Rose sighed, looking around the sitting room full of odds and ends. He's stuff. She kept it all packed away in boxes in the cupboard. She showed me when she had a bit to drink. Angel followed her into the room, but had more to look out the window, her eyes on the sky. They were really looking at what Rose was pointing to. The doctor just moved to lean against the door frame, saying nothing. Here it is, Rose continued, on display, where it should be. The doctor remained quiet, just watching her with his arms folded, angry. But Rose seemed not to notice as she picked up a trophy and showed it to him. Third prize at the bowling. First two got to go take caught. She looked at it for a few seconds before replacing it when her eyes were drawn to quite a few containers of liquid to the side. She bent down to look at them. Health drinks. Tonics, Mum used to call them. He made his money selling this big tech stuff. He had all sorts of jobs. So clever. She looked over and saw some plans on the table. Solar power. Mum said he was going to do this, and we can. She finally turned to look at the doctor, smiling, but he remained impassive. Okay, look. She glanced between them and Angel. I'll tell her you're not my sister, and back to the doctor, or her boyfriend. When we met, I said travel with me in space, he replied, suspicious. You said no. Then I said time machine. It wasn't some big plan, Rose defended. I just saw it happening and I thought, I can stop it. I did it again, he muttered, growing angrier, shaking his head at himself. I picked another stupid ape. I should have known. It's not about showing you the universe. It never is. It's about the universe doing something for you. So it's okay when you go to other times and you save people's lives, but not when it's me saving my dad. I know what I'm doing. You don't. Having two versions of us that made that moment a vulnerable point in time, Angel added quietly, not taking her eyes off the window, off the sky. Humans, aliens, whatever the case, however terrible she was at dealing with them or interacting, however poor her marks had been in the academy, one thing she knew, one thing she understood better than anyone, time. Raising TARDISes, time travel was all she could claim to be an expert in. But he's alive, Rose spun to her. Our entire planet died, the doctor counted, drawing her attention again. My whole family, Angel's family. You think it never occurred to me, to either of us, to go back and save them? It's not like I changed history. Not much. I mean, he's never going to be a world leader. He's not going to start World War III or anything. That's not it, Rose, Angel sighed, turning around. Right now, a man who shouldn't be alive is an ordinary man, Dr. Reed, stepping towards her. That's the most important thing in creation. Everything, the whole world is different now because of that. What, would you rather him dead? Rose looked between them, growing furious. Of course not. Angel shook her head, taking a step towards Rose, wanting to give her a hug. She'd seen that humans tended to do that for all manner of things, especially when they were upset, and she really was trying to get better at interacting with them, with others in general. She hadn't had many friends in the academy, most thinking her odd, so she kept to herself. She did have a friend or two, a few time-lords ladies, who had grown up near her, and knew her well enough to have gotten used to her oddness at a young enough age. But she really did try not to be so odd around them either, keeping things from slipping through. Not now, though. Now the doctor actually wanted her to do that, to let whatever feelings or slip of the tongues she got out. Still, she didn't like seeing Rose upset. But Rose was far too angry and simply stepped back, making Angel pause. "We're not saying that," the doctor began, expectorated. "No, I get it," Rose shouted, glaring at him. "For once, you're not the most important man in my life. Let's see how you get on without me, then. Give me the key." He held out his hand as Rose stared at him. "The doctor's key. If I'm so insignificant, give me it back." "All right, then, I will." She pulled it out and slapped it down into his hand, hard. "Well, you got what you wanted, so that's goodbye then." He turned on her and walked down the hall towards the door, with Rose pursuing him. "Don't scare me," she called, though quite unconvincingly. She pushed past him and stood between him and the door. "You'll be back in a minute. I know how sad you are." The doctor just shook his head. Was. What? "I was sad. I was sad because I was alone. But I'm not anymore, am I?" He stepped to the side, revealing Angel a few feet behind him, and having followed them. He reached back and took her hand. Neither of us saw. Rose blinked, almost having forgotten the time he was there. "Yeah, but you weren't leaving here. I hung around outside the TARDIS waiting for me." The doctor just glared at her and stormed past her, opening the door. "And I'll make you wait a long time." He slammed the door shut soon as they stepped past, before leaning the wall heavily. She poked her head around the bed. Pete poked his head around the bedroom door. "So, your boyfriend then?" She didn't answer, just glaring at the door. Still fuming, the doctor half walked, half stalked down the road with Angel at his side. A few moments later, Angel shivered violently. He looked over at her, concerned. "Whatever it is that's coming," she began, crossing her arms as though she were cold. "They're close." He pulled her closer, putting an arm around her shoulders in comfort as they hurried off. Through a red haze, a number of humans were being watched, oblivious. A woman hanging clothes on the line, a man tending his garden, another young man sitting against the wall having lunch. All of them screaming moments later as something fell from the sky and grabbed them. Rose picked up peanuts that was strewn over the coffee table of the flat, putting them back on her plate when Pete entered dressed in a suit. "Excuse me, do you mind?" He laughed a bit. "What are you turning up for?" "Sorry," she stopped. "Force of habit." "Listen, don't worry about him. Couples have rows all the time." "We're not a couple," she shouted, flopping down on the sofa. "Why does everyone think we're a couple? He's not my boyfriend." "Right," Pete winced. "Is your sisters then?" Rose rolled her eyes. "She's not my sister, and he's not her boyfriend either." She took a breath, crossing her arms before she sighed, thinking about the wayward Time Lords. "I think you left me. They both left me. Pretty girl like you. If I was going out with you—" "Stop!" she cried, on the verge of being scarred for life. "Right there! I was just saying, I know what you'll say, and we're not going there. At no point are we going anywhere near there. You aren't even aware that there exists." Pete frowned, trying to keep up with what she was saying. "I don't even want to think about there. Believe me, neither do you. There for you is it's like the Bermuda Triangle. Blimey, you know how to find a bloke." Rose just jumped to her feet and grabbed her jacket, offering her arm to Pete. "Right, are we off?" He nodded at her arm. "So that wouldn't be a mixed signal at all?" "Absolutely not." He sighed and took her arm aside, walking towards the door. "I'll take you back to the loony bin where you belong." "Still, I'm sure I've met you somewhere before." He shut the door behind them as they left. The groom, Stuart Hoskins, stood at the altar waiting for the bride, with his father beside him, glancing back nervously. "It's weird," he remarked. "What?" he asked. "There's so many people missing. Uncle Stephen, Aunt Lynn, all the Paxters. Where are they?" He looked at his watch. "I think something's gone wrong. Maybe it's godsend. Gives you time to think." You don't have to go through with it. Not these days. Live in sin for a bit. Dad, Stuart moaned. His father thought he was just doing right by marrying his pregnant girlfriend. The man just couldn't see that he actually loved her. 10 years' time, he'll turn around and say, only I could turn the clock back. His father muttered, glancing at the stained glass window before turning back to Stuart. So real, did it just get cold? The red haze lingered, watching a man in a black jacket and a woman in a blue duster reach a street corner. The doctor and Angel stepped around the corner, coming to where the TARDIS was. He seemed a bit torn between being angry at Rose and concerned about what Angel had said earlier. Angel, however, just kept glancing up, as though seeing something at the corner of her eye in the sky, but it was gone every time she turned. He stood before the TARDIS, pulling out the key, when he suddenly looked up as well. Doctor, Angel began. Something's wrong. He looked at her to see her staring at the TARDIS instead, and quickly opened the doors to reveal that the inside of the ship was gone, completely disappeared. It was just an ordinary police box. He jumped aside, pressing against the walls, as Angel leaned over to look around the doorframe. Oh no, she gasped. He looked at her, his eyes widening. Rose! He dashed out of the box, two of them racing back down the road. I met this bloke at the horse, and he's cutting me in on copyright. Pete continued to speak of his inventions and business as he drove him and Rose to the wedding. But I thought you were a proper businessman and that, Rose began. I wish, he cut in with a laugh. I do a bit this, bit that, a straight bloke. Right, so I must have heard wrong. So really you're a bit of a Del boy? Oh, shoot me down in flames. You're not related to my wife by any chance, are you? Rose put her hand over her mouth, realizing something. My God, she's going to be at the wedding. What, Jackie? He glanced at her. Do you know her? Rose paused at the moment. Sort of. What she told you about me then? Rose smiled in memory. She said she picked the most fantastic man in the world. Must be a different Jackie then. She'd never say that. After a few seconds of silence, the radio sprung to life, playing rap. This stuff just goes right over my head. He tapped it in rotation. That's not out yet, Rose muttered, confused, recognizing the song. It's a good job and all, he grunt. She quickly pulled out her mobile. I'm just going to check my messages. How do you mean, messages? He looked over at the small device in her hand. Is that a phone? Yeah, she nodded, holding it to her ear. But the only message that played was, Watson, come here, we need you. Watson, come here, we need you, over and over again. She furrowed her brow in confusion before glancing at her father, who also looked puzzled as the very same message came over the radio. Watson, come here, we need you. He looked in the rearview mirror as the car behind him, one that looked strangely familiar to him. As he rounded the corner, the car vanished, the driver throwing his hand over his eyes as it did so. And that's the end of chapter 7. So, yeah. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, go leave a like or on this video, but also go leave a kudos. If you're on archive, or go leave a comment or review, whichever website you're on. I don't think you need an account. You definitely don't need a. Actually, I don't think you need an account for comments. It just means the author can't respond to you. At least I assume that's the case of archive. I know that's the case on fanfiction. But yeah, we're done here now. So go. We're done. And be sure to subscribe. I upload videos every Friday and Saturday. And I'll see you guys next Friday with a new video.